What's up guys, Matt Prince from Royal Fitness. So one of the things we look at Royal or in my online programs is working out the right deadlift or hinge pattern for each person. Not everybody needs to deadlift with a straight bar from the floor. I personally don't do it myself. It tends to piss my back off in multiple ways when I get to a certain weight. So I've found other ways to load that hinge pattern and that whole posterior chain. What we always start people off with is the kettlebell deadlift, right? So the reason for that is when you have the weight in the center of the body, it's just gonna be less risk, less strain and less technical, I suppose, learning that you need to do. So basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna push the hips back, keep your chest up. I'm trying to recruit the hamstrings, glutes. From here, I'm gonna tense my upper back strong. So I'm gonna tense my lats hard, drop my legs, press it out, okay? And I'm doing reps, you can do them nice and solid. Very, very simple, very easy exercise to execute. Very good way to get some deadlifting in. Now we've progressed that over time to other variations or heavier kettlebells, but that's a really, really good buy-in way to learn how to deadlift properly. Okay, so I've got people that just do that solely and that's how they work until they're ready to move on to the next step. Trap bars is one of our next steps. So the trap bar deadlift, very similar in terms of where the weight's distributed. It's sort of in the center line of the body. So you got the weight here rather than it being out in front, and then it's gonna be less lower back. It'll be a little bit more upright, similar to kettlebell. Chest is up high, glutes can drop down a little bit lower and you can get a little bit more quad involved. So the trap bar dead is a great one to start working with to get that pattern right. So you lock in, chest up, drive through the floor. And that tends to be a lot easier or safer for a lot of people with their lower backs. Now, I just want to reiterate, I don't think any deadlifts are unsafe. You just need to pick the variations that are right per person and right for the goal that you're trying to achieve. So if I'm working with a fighter, let's say a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, MMA guy, something like that, generally, and this is why the straight bars don't agree with me, generally one side of their body is going to be more dominant than the other, tighter, stronger, overused. For me, when I'm playing a lot of guard stuff or I'm on my back, I'm crunched into this side. So my right side of my lower back and core is just a little bit unbalanced compared to how it probably should be or how it would be for a normal person who hasn't done years and years of weird motions. So when I do a trap bar, it's just a little bit easier on my lower back. It doesn't tend to ping. There's less twisting going on because of where the weight's centered. If I go to a straight bar, which I'll show in a sec, I tend to, at the heavier loads, I tend to shift my weight. I tend to twist a little bit. You won't see it on the light ones, but on the heavier ones, that's what happens. And that's because I'm compensating with stronger muscles or my tighter muscles essentially get exposed at that higher end weight. That's why I have to pick the one that's right for you. So as I come over here, there's two versions here. First version I love this version for my fighters, is a sumo dead. So essentially taking your legs wide, your shins are, your toes are on a 45, shins are nice and horizontal, so they're coming up straight, and you're gonna push your hips back, chest down, chest up, hips down, you're gonna drag the bar up your shins, driving through. Now, it's gonna really teach you to build it out through the hips. When you are out wide, you're pushing the force outwards, which allows you to build strength laterally rather than it just being up and down. Very, very good way to develop the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings, the low back and all that. But it also too, it translates well. If you're like a wrestler or something, you got to push off. If you're doing jiu-jitsu and you start grappling, you have to drive, you might have to split out. It's going to really help that. If you're a striker, you're going to have to push off that back leg to get the kick, get the punch, whatever it is. So you're developing in these wider stances, which translate over to the sport. So that's why I love the sumo for those people. One note is double overhand grip. If you need to, you will need to, is strap up, get the lifting straps, whack them over, rather than changing to a mixed grip. The reason for it, doing double over, very low risk of injury towards the biceps, and it's very unlikely that you're gonna twist, say if I twist with an over-under, I'm changing my shoulder structure. I'm gonna create more imbalances. When I'm training my strength to out-train my imbalances that I get from my sport, that's something I really wanna be aware of, is If I go double over, it's less likely to make those imbalances more I suppose, obvious as I get stronger in those positions. So double over, strap up. It's going to protect your biceps. Some people can, strain their bicep by tensing like that. They, get a bicep strain or something. It's not needed if you're not a powerlifter, is basically where I'm going with that. Now, the last variation, and this is a great variation. I've got a lot of guys who do conventional deads, love it, can lift a lot of weight on it, and I think it's a really, really cool lift. For me, it doesn't work. For a lot of my fighters, I tend to shy away from it purely because their focus is on fighting or grappling or whatever rather than on the deadlift. I still prefer double over, so I'd strap up for a lot of people. You're gonna come down low, feet will be under hips here, chest up nice and high, driving through, bang. Driving through. So you're getting that hamstring, glute, lower back activation across the whole pattern. It's going to be a larger range of motion for your posterior chain. It is one of the better ones to build up your posterior chain out of all these variations. It'll hit it the hardest. And the reason I sort of shy away again is more so the risk reward factor, not because of how good an exercise it is. So just keep that in mind. If you do the ones like I was saying, trap bar, sumo, kettlebell deads, you need to make sure we're doing other things to plug in the things we're missing with this. That might be things like Romanian deadlifts, might be things like lower back extensions, hyper extensions, those sorts of things to make sure we're still developing that whole posterior chain from every angle. So without going into it anymore, that's some things to think about when you're choosing your deadlift. Pick the one that's right for you, not only for your body, but for your goal as well. If you're doing full conventional deads and your back's smoked and you feel cooked for 4 or 5 days and it's affecting your training in your sport, whether it's footy or you're a police officer or you're a fighter or something like that, it's not going to actually help you perform any better. So you need to make sure you're finding one that's going to, not wipe you out for 4 or 5 days. It might be a day or so that you feel it, but then you're good to go again, you're good to train hard again. So you can keep progressing on all fronts. Anyway, hope that helps in some way, guys. If you have any questions, post them below. Feel free to hit me up. If you need anything training-wise, yell out. We've got the Jacked and Dangerous books. We've got online work. We've got Royal Fitness where you can come in and train with me. But guys, I'm here to help if I can. Let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye.